When it comes to ranking up through the low ranks, the most important thing you need to do is understand the game to the best of your ability. That way, when you come up against opponents who understand the game less than you, it is significantly easier to beat them. So today, we'll be deep diving into a gold replay so we can work to get a better understanding of the best way to play the game. And this is the first moment I realized this. We're just staring here for a boost pad that's not even there, and we have absolutely no idea what's happening behind us. So the other thing that we can utilize here is once we see our teammate take this boost, which he's kind of going to as he pushes up, we're on 37 when we're kind of in this corner. So that's pretty much our cue. Like, we don't need a ton more boost. We can just grab a couple pads on our way out here, and then we can keep an eye on the play as it develops, rather than committing all the way to the back corner and completely abandoning our teammate and telling him to basically do it by himself. Because we're gonna leave him alone on an island here and be like, well, good luck, I'm gonna be all the way in our half over here. So yeah, hope you do well with the ball there. Which luckily he does. But now we're also, like, attacking the ball really quickly, and this is, like, one of the second big things that we're gonna see. So you actually get back to this area of the field at a pretty good time. Like, with this ball coming off the backboard, we actually time our arrival pretty well, which is great. One of the things that I want to stress, though, is not rushing touches. And we want to make sure that we get the best touch we can in any given situation. So, like, in this spot, we really don't want to be, like, yeeting ourselves towards the ball, like, all out of control. We want to do everything we can to kind of approach the ball calmly. If you ever see yourself, like, jumping and just kind of sprinting at the ball when there's really, like, no immediate threat on it, doing anything all that miraculous, you kind of want to learn to just, like, calm down a bit, because the more wild you are when you jump, the less control you're going to have over this situation, and it's just going to normally end up with handing the ball to your opponents and giving them the majority of the field to work with, because, like, this touch, it works out because it goes up the wall, but we have almost no hope of doing anything else here, because we just kind of flopped at it and hoped for the best. I don't know how much time you spend, like, in free play and stuff, just really practicing trying to get, like, good solid touches on the ball with, like, your nose, where you can, like, land appropriately and then, like, get right back on the ball. But one of the best free play drills that I do a lot is I will just go into free play, I would just drive around as fast as possible and just hit the ball around the field as fast as I can. Hit the ball, land, go back, and hit the ball again as quickly as possible, because it really does help to get you used to hitting the ball with control of your car, and recovering to go get more touches. So I would highly stress that. That's a really good drill to nail down both car control, and learn how different touches interact with the ball. So be careful of these. This is all about understanding, like, where our teammate is. At this point, like, once we're on this side of the ball and our teammate's, like, in this position, there's very little reason for us to try to cut into this when it's very clear that our teammate has the touch coming out and a much better angle to go for it from. So once we see that he has given up possession and our teammate's in position to go for it, realistically we should just allow them to do so and just swing around behind them, so that we can just keep out of each other's way. So when these balls, like, fly across like this, just take a quick glance to see where this guy is. And if you see them coming this way, just let them go, because there's also no immediate threat from these guys here in the midfield. They're kind of just not doing anything. But now we're going to end up in a double commit with our teammate for not a whole lot of reason, and we're not really able to do anything either, because our teammate gets the touch over anyway. This is another rush touch. We have a bunch of space here. Again, not having ball cam on here is a good thing, because we can see what's happening, but the only opponent is all the way over there. And instead of, like, just letting this ball come down and trying to, like, even, like, catch it on the nose and let it hit the ground and just pushing it forward, we just kind of jump up and pop it back into the air, which completely removes our impact from the play and basically hands the ball to them. So in these situations, when you just have an opponent, like, sitting in net, not pressuring you at all, and you have all this space to work with, do what you can to, like, just let this ball come down, catch it, and utilize the space as much as possible. This is another thing that you can practice in free play, is just trying to catch the ball from positions where it's in the air and taking control of it and actually trying to do stuff with it. Even if it's just keeping the ball along the ground and forcing out 50-50s, it's better to force out challenges with your opponents than give them free balls from just slapping it into the air. Because, yeah, now this is just awkward. We do get a decent 50, but, yeah, definitely not best case scenario. And then this is where we're going to get punished for staring at boost. So, right here, we know we just had a double commit with our teammate. We know we were just both in their corner. So we're not exactly in the best defensive position. Right in this moment, the best thing you can do is line yourself up with, like, either the mid boost pads and just go straight down this line, or these boost pads going this way, that go in, like, this curve around the field, and get yourself on this group. And just start to rotate back to net as quickly as you can. But this is when it's also important to get yourself lined up and put ball cam back on, because then you would know how the play is developing, and you would know where you would need to go. But the second that you commit immediately for this, now you're already committed to going all the way out here. And because we're also not watching, then by the time we get here, the ball's already going into our net. So that's just an awareness thing, just recognizing neither you or your teammate are in a good spot, and just finding whatever boost you can as you go towards wherever you can be the most useful. Because, yeah, at this point, like, you're just not getting back. If you had at least taken, like, the inner ring boost pads, you would be on track to get back in time, rather than being all the way out here. So when you're in these rotations, look for opportunities to use this path of boost, because it is very useful and does work very well with rotations around the field, in both directions, just because of the way it's shaped and where it's going. So yeah, look to utilize those. You don't always have to run to the big boosts. It'll keep you much closer to the play if you take that path of pads. Another one where we probably stay off ball cam a little too long. And this one's even worse because we're on 87 boost, so there's really, like, there's no reason for us to be back in net. Our teammate's coming forward. At the very least, like, we can go, like, around this way and, like, give ourselves a wider line. And if we're keeping ball cam on, if we see our teammate win a challenge, we can turn back upfield. If we see our teammate lose a challenge, we can keep going back. But rather than fully committing in one direction again, just try to keep your options open. Like, don't ever commit fully for an area of the field that you don't need to be in. Just because, especially here, like, we know we hit the ball that way. We saw the last time we looked at the ball, there was no opponent in our vision. So that means that there's not an immediate threat here. So we can kind of take a bit more time, just be a bit calmer, and not rush towards net when there's absolutely no reason to do so. Because, yeah, we're just dipping out of the play, and it's like, all right, we're back in net, and why? Well, there's not much to really do here. If you had just been, like, sitting in the midfield, like, now this ball comes over, you can just, like, turn calmly and go for it. But yeah, now we're just really far back, and now we're in this awkward situation where now we just rush the jump again. And it's just kind of all a bit of a weird mess. So one of the, like, worst things you can do, and this happens a lot when players are, like, trying to get aerial touches consistently, is they'll have a habit of just moving too quickly on the ground. And what that does is it gives you a lot of forward momentum, which is great when you need to get to a ball quickly, but it's not great if the ball is, like, more vertical as opposed to, like, further out in front of you. Because what happens here, like, the forward momentum you have now, if you jumped at this point, we'd probably be okay to get up to it, but with the length of time that we spend on the ground here, like, we wait until now to jump. So with the forward momentum we have, now we have to try to fight against that to propel ourselves high enough into the air to get to this. So one of the ways that you can avoid this is by just slowing down a bit before you leave the ground. If you just tap brake just a little bit, you'll slow that forward momentum, and it'll allow you to get more vertical quicker. Alternatively, you could also just jump from further away. But seeing as how these guys are also just sitting here staring at the ball, what you did is fine as long as you, like, slow down, and again, just kind of calm down. Like, you don't need to panic at things. And this is actually another thing that free play can help with, is just these touches. Like, just having the ball being up in the air and comfortably jumping up and getting touches on the ball. So yeah, just work on getting those comfortable aerial touches, not going too fast on the ground before you jump, and just trying to control that car movement on the ground so you can have more control of your car in the air. The faster you go on the ground, the less control you have when you jump. This is one where we just don't need to run away from the play. There's really no reason for us to be hiding all the way back here. What we're gonna see here in the final, like, 50 seconds is what I like to call, I'm terrified of giving up the tying goal. So instead of continuing to play how I've been playing, I'm just gonna sit towards my own net and hope for the best. Because what we're gonna see here, the ball's just kind of, you know, sitting harmlessly on the opponent's half, nothing really happening. We got ourselves, like, 72 boost, but instead of, like, you know, just hanging out in the midfield, like, just chilling out and waiting to see what happens, we decide that we're gonna go all the way back to our own corner to get a boost that makes absolutely no difference. So, yep. We actually don't even go get the boost. We just kind of, you know, flip back to our own corner. Because we can, I guess. But you'll notice that now the ball is just kind of sitting right here. And if we were still, like, you know, in the midfield where we just were, now this would be an easy ball to go for. But now we're kind of stuck in this weird spot where we can't really tell if we're closer or if this opponent is closer. So now, because again, we're trying to play, like, absolutely as safe as possible, we just decide, you know what, let's just go back. And the danger in that is that we go back, and now we've just given up the entire field to this guy. And handed him the ball and said, hey, go ahead, you have that one. So what we can do here, like, even if you don't think you can win this ball, or even if you don't want to, like, maybe you see your teammates, like, all the way out of the play over here, and you don't want to fully commit for it, like, that's totally fine. We still want to apply pressure here. Just like we've talked about in a couple situations, if we can apply pressure to the opponents, at this rank, they are going to just throw the ball away. They are not going to try to do anything with it. But if we just, you know, back up and give them the whole field, now they'll try to take control. Luckily, they can't shoot, but we still gave them way more space than we needed to. And all we needed to do to really restrict that space was just drive forward a little bit and apply a bit of pressure. And maybe even as we're driving forward, we realize that we would have the win on the ball if we just go. But by backing off, we give all the advantage in the play to our opponents. Oh dear. So yeah, this is an interesting decision. So we see our teammate in the corner. Like, yeah, he's awkward. But again, the important thing we always have to realize is, like, is there a reason that we need to dive into the corner here? And the answer normally, if your teammate is already in the corner, even if they look a bit awkward like this, the answer is normally no. We can kind of just sit in net and wait to see how this whole thing develops. Because from the corner, the, like, most they can really do, especially, like, at this rank, is hit it around the wall. And then we can just drive out and get the clear. If we're sitting in net, there's really no reason for us to pressure out with our teammate. Because that just puts both of us in the same spot. And then if our opponents beat one of us, they beat both of us, and now it's just an open net. So, again, this jump in is definitely an interesting one. And again, I have no idea how they've missed this. And that's kind of the danger of playing, like, with that, like, safety idea in mind. Because when we try to play, like, too safe, we often give up way more opportunities to our opponents than if we just keep playing normally. So even if you're winning in the last minute, like, yeah, that might alter your decision making slightly, but just make sure that it doesn't turn you into, like, a turtle who is sitting in its shell back in net, trying desperately to hold on to a 1-goal lead, because once you give up all of this space to your opponents, you're gonna make life far more dangerous for yourself than it really needs to be. As you can see, when it comes to the lower ranks, mistakes are to be expected. If you can give yourself a better understanding of the game, you will rank up just through that understanding. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you that made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below, so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, and even have a replay of yours analyzed in the future, make sure you also check out my Discord, which will be linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.